But why don't you call the president? Kiss and make up.
I will as soon as he starts keeping a single one of his promises on immigration.
Oh, all right.
Well, that was easy. If you could talk to him, it'd really be doing us all a solid. And in case I haven't said this before, I am going to become a broken record on this in defense of not only me, but all of us who voted for Trump, because some of the never-Trumpers, needless to say, are sneering and laughing and ha-ha like they knew. No, they didn't know. And we certainly didn't know in an area far more complicated than building a wall or following the law, deporting illegals and enforcing the welfare ban on immigrants, that sort of thing. The judiciary, he's been magnificent. Why? Because he farmed it out. He's not farming this out to the people who could get it done. He doesn't seem to be trying to get it done. He has all Koch brothers, open borders shills working for him in the White House. Other than Stephen Miller, there isn't a single person in any top administration position who supports the MAGA agenda.
All right. Well, that may be true, but it's not like he's sitting around doing nothing. It's not like he's Obama in the gym all day. He does have stuff going on. I mean, he's under assault from 50 different directions, including Mueller and Nadler, all this stuff.
Well, the best way to fight back to all of this is to keep his promises. I mean, why is he under this assault? Why was he the only Republican, not only in 2016, but every 4 years for your and my lifetimes, to come out for protecting Americans, American jobs, and American neighborhoods, American schools, American emergency rooms? It's because the political class, it's a cozy little political class, as we've seen in my favorite scandal in a long time, and we'll get to this in a moment, the college cheating scandal.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that next.
And what I covered in last week's column, the Jeffrey Epstein case. Jeffrey Epstein was a huge Democratic donor, but that's another story of the elites protecting themselves. And I'm telling you, because of immigration, it is going to get more and more like that in this country as we become more like Brazil, and the income inequality widens and widens and widens. The reason all of Trump's immigration promises, and there were a lot, anchor babies, repealing Obama's unconstitutional amnesty, simply deporting the 60 million illegals in the country, ending the asylum scam. You sometimes hear the non-MAGA people working for Trump saying, oh, the wall is just a metaphor. Yeah, that's right. It's a metaphor that means all of the things I just mentioned, the entire pro-American immigration agenda, but it also means a wall.
Yeah.
So it's a metaphor in that sense. That's why they hate him.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to keep going after him. If he wants to save himself, keep the promises that formed this titanium bond with his base. And no one can lay a finger on him, but he isn't doing that. He's losing certainly a large segment of his base, and he can't afford to lose 1% of it. And he will just be dismantled by Mueller.
Well, Ann Coulter, let's get to this college admissions. Now, this is terribly...
Yes, my favorite scandal.
Okay, you shouldn't do this, but on the other hand, some Hollywood stars, they raise dumb kids. They need an affirmative action for them. For them, they got to pay for it. But these prosecutors act like it's the biggest bust in the history of the world. It's not that big a deal.
Oh, no. No, this is the biggest bust. I mean, I hope it just goes on and on and on. And, speaking of dumb kids who couldn't get in on their own, so their fathers had to offer Harvard a $2.5 million donation. That's Jared Kushner.
Okay. But it's easy for you.
I noticed this. Sorry?
It's easy for you. You're one of these geniuses that got into some fancy Ivy League college by studying hard. What about stupid people like me, where someone has to pull a string to get us in?
Well, for one thing, I think 90%, that was everything Mark just said was a lie. But taking the examples out of that question, we had in this country, we had merit-based admissions in colleges starting sometime in the 60s. Before that, it was really more of a social thing. Very few people went to college at all. But starting in the 60s, with the implementation of the SAT, we really did have merit-based admissions. You and I lived in that beautiful halcyon time, and then the baby boomers had kids. Their kids were going to college, and they thought, screw this. I'm rich. Let's go back to being able to buy your kids' way in. And apart from the way it was done illegally here, often with these families getting off cheap, and I think that's part of the reason. I mean, you sit back and think, good grief, how could anyone do this? But then I've also noticed lots of well, let me put it this way. I think every single person I know who went to Harvard with children, with the exception of one, not one of their kids, all of their kids go to Harvard. I know a little about IQ. That is statistically impossible. But gosh, they've made a lot of money, and gosh, they've donated a lot of money to Harvard. So at this point, if you're just a really bright kid from the Midwest without connections, without wealthy families, and you're not getting any affirmative action for being black or brown, as they say, that's already all of the preferential treatment, whether it's based on your race, ethnicity, and I don't know why any race should ever be considered other than descendant of American slave. But now, no, I'm from Mexico, let me in. And you get precedence over a white American. The number of spaces left for people who are just smart and trying to go to a college that suits their abilities is teeny tiny. So I think the whole thing is a scam. I'm really glad that this prosecution has been brought. There was another thing about college I wanted.
You know what was funny? Elizabeth Warren jumped in and commented on this. I thought that was amazing. She's somebody who conned a college to get her job.
Action bonus points, yeah.
How dare she speak about this?
Yeah, I think there are a few things her advisors better tell her. Just don't talk about this. Oh, I know what I was going to say. One hilarious thing is seeing, at least on some of your and my favorite networks, seeing the black and brown, as they call themselves, complaining about all of the black and brown kids who were cut out. They have to turn everything into a racial issue. No, Sherlock, you guys got in on another scam.
Well, it wasn't a scam, but you.
No, if you're not a descendant of an American slave, it's a scam.
But you'll admit,
we owe you nothing. That's just an anti-white program. I mean, affirmative action set aside for black descendants of American slaves. That's one thing. I don't think it helps in the long run, but that part is a utilitarian argument. My moral principled argument is if you just came across the border, if you just landed at JFK Friday, you don't get affirmative action over an American on Monday. But you know what, Mark? That's how our system works.
But you'll admit, having been around the Ivy League, that half the people in Harvard and Yale are a bunch of morons who legacy admission, somebody built
that's
a building.
What I'm saying today. That's true. Yeah. It wasn't true when I was in school.
No, but now it's true. And
that's why I think the whole thing should be it's all a scam. It's dismantled. Oh, my final point on this. You know why college is so important?
No.
Because the Supreme Court made it against the law to give an IQ test for purposes of employment.
Oh.
You can give a 15-minute, like I say, I know a lot about IQ. You can give a 15-minute IQ test that is massively accurate, is useful for any job hiring. The only reason to go to college in the first place, and it's that now they're living off the memory of what colleges used to be 20 years ago. It used to be you take an SAT test or whatever they take in the Midwest. They have that ACT or something, which is sort of a proxy for an IQ test. Plus you have your grades. I don't think extracurriculars should matter that much, but apparently they do. You get into a college. So my recommendation to kids these days, since it is all a scam and colleges are, $1 million a week at this point, is to get the best score they can get on the SAT, apply to a gazillion colleges, take their college acceptance letter and their SAT score, if it's good, from the best college they get into and present that to employers, because that's all employers want to know.
Yeah.
A proxy for an IQ test.
Well, I hate to say it, we're out of time. Ann Coulter, your column comes out tonight. Is this what it'll be about?
No, but perhaps I will write about this at some point.
Oh, okay. Well,
'Cause I know whenever you write about IQ in America, the social justice warriors just love it.
Well, go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get her new column. It comes out tonight. Get the book, Resistance is Futile. Also, right now, Adios America, important book because it's all about the immigration problem. And just go to AnnCoulter.com. Make sure you follow Ann Coulter on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right.